Friends, for the last 28 years, it has been so painful to document a patient encounter in the ED. And that's all going to end. In 2023, we're going to have totally new guidelines, and it's going to allow you to practice medicine again. And I want to share these guidelines with you. I want you to go back to 1995. It was a better time. I was a lot younger. I had a beautiful, beautiful head of hair, my mother said. I was a third-year medical student. I was working at Cook County Hospital. ER was the most popular show on television. The only person happier than me was my sister, who was following the Grateful Dead across the country for the second year in a row. We were all having a party. We were partying, and the government ruined our party. They introduced the 1995 documentation guidelines, and you guys all know them. Hey, you want to get paid for that encounter? You got to put 10 review systems. You need 4 HPI elements. Even when the patient came in with a super therapeutic INR, and it was a lot of work for you, but there really wasn't 10 review systems that were relevant. Well, you don't get paid. The docs, the APPs, the medical students, no one liked it. Everybody complained, and they came out with new guidelines in 1997. They were worse. In 98, they tried one last time and just gave up, literally until now. In 2023, it's all going to change. They asked the providers, what is important? They recognize that this burden on us is unsustainable and that what we're writing in the note doesn't help the patient. What I'm telling you is, come January 1, you're only going to have to write a history and physical that's medically appropriate for that encounter. You will not hear me say 10 review of systems ever again. You're going to get paid entirely based on your medical decision making. But make no mistake about it, the government isn't in the business of paying more for a service. So there are going to be some things you're going to need to learn, and I'm going to share them with you right now. Here are the 7 things you need to know. And it really just boils down to this. You're already doing all of the work, but you've got to get it into the record so that the coder knows what you're doing. Here they are. So you have a discussion with another healthcare provider. That's like a consultation. You need to let the coder know. Who did you talk to? And like one sentence, what did you discuss? We are doing tons of interpretations, EKGs, POCUS, right? Some of us are looking at CAT scans before the radiologist, x-rays. Write down what test it is that you interpreted, what your interpretation was. You get credit, it gets quantified, you get paid for it. External records. That means if you look at something that wasn't written by one of your colleagues in the emergency department, you're going to get credit for it. So if you look at an old H&P or a discharge summary, there's absolutely no way that the coder would know that unless you wrote it down. If you write down, you reviewed the discharge summary from January 20th of 2020, you're going to get credit for it. You just have to write one sentence. What did you find from that? If you looked at the EMS run sheet or the continuity of care form, you're going to get credit for it. If you get the history from anybody but the patient, you're now going to get credit for it. This includes the parent of a nonverbal child. It's more work. And you're getting paid now based on your medical decision making, which isn't really just your cognitive thought process. It's the body of the work that you do in the ER. If it takes more effort, you're going to get paid for it. If there are social determinants of health that impede your ability to care for the patient, they don't have a home, they don't have a job, they can't pay for the Eliquis that you just wrote for their new AFib, you're going to get extra credit for that. You're going to get rewarded for that extra work finally. Even if you think about admitting somebody and you decide not to because you're smart enough to implement guidelines where you're going to get 2 troponins and arrange outpatient follow-up for this patient because they don't need to stay in the hospital. But you could have taken the easy path and admitted them. If you write down that you considered the admission, but you were able to avoid it because of this, you're going to get credit for it. It's not difficult. You're already doing the work. We just have to make sure that it gets in the note. And I would encourage you to start doing it now so that come January 1st, it's second nature to you. I'm working with a bunch of different people. Our coders, our auditors. Jared is working on creating a smart phrase for us so you don't have to remember any of this. So it's going to be right there in the medical decision making in Epic. You're going to be reminded of these 7 things. If you just put them in the record, we're going to maintain our level of reimbursement. Maybe we'll even do better. Okay, but I need your help, and I want to introduce these guidelines today. There'll be more education to come. I thank you very much for the people who took the time to watch this. Keep your eye open for little PowerPoints and little snippets, videos shorter than this. I appreciate literally everything you do. I think this is 100% a step in the right direction, and I thank everybody for all their hard work.